I'm going to try something different today. I'm going to talk about my favorite reads. I'm going to start with my favorite classic. To Kill a Mockingbird is probably one of the best books I've ever read. Now, there are things about it that are problematic, to be sure, but I think that also adds to the layers of it in regards to how we talk about it now and what kind of new books are coming out that support or enhance the beauty of this book. And one specifically that I've read recently that I thought was phenomenal was The Black Kids by Christina Hammonds. And if you haven't read that, definitely pick that up. The Shadow of the Wind. And I fell in complete and absolute love with this book. A Bridge of Clay. Now, I have to say that this book, in terms of reviews, is very polarizing. Some people love it and some people hate it. Here's what I think. If you walk in reading Bridge of Clay thinking it's going to be like the Book Thief, you're going to be disappointed. It's not the Book Thief. It is its own work of fiction. But as a work of fiction, it is incredible. The format, the way that he tells the story and unfolds it little piece by little piece, the characterization, everything about this book just screams at me, master. And so that's one of the reasons this book is on my favorites. To do a video just on YA contemporary that I really like, but I thought I'm gonna pick some of my favorites that I think are really relevant now, but also will stand the test of time and probably will remain on my favorites list. I'm late to Eleanor Park. They're already making a movie about it. It's been out for many, many years. And I, again, read it this year. It was like that, wow. Wow. I loved how much heart and depth it had. This one made me stop and think, and the characters stuck with me for a while, which I think is the mark of a good book. The Bookworm Crush, which I've read twice and then listened to on Audible, is so much fun. Poet X by Elizabeth Acevato, a narrative written in poetry, and definitely read this. Her journey is heartfelt, sobering, and it really makes you think about your own journey in terms of being a woman and all of the cultural messages that are given to you as a woman trying to navigate the world. Another YA contemporary came out several years ago. The author has since put out several new books, but The Serpent King by Jeff Zentner, I think, does an impeccable job exploring the idea of male perspective, as well as male and the father, male and the mother, male and friends. And I thought it was a refreshing read, and so it always makes my top list and one that I recommend. So I have this favorite graphic novel. I don't necessarily gravitate towards graphic novels, but I've read a few, and I think enough to be able to say, okay, I know a good graphic novel when I read it. Blankets by Craig Thompson. It falls in line, obviously, with the books that really speak to me, which is really about personal growth, personal coming of age, that idea of understanding your identity in relationship to your own journey, as well as trying to marry that with the expectations, familial expectations, friendship expectations, relationship expectations that sometimes weigh that growth down. It's an impeccably written story, so I would highly recommend this one. I'm an avid fantasy reader, YA fantasy, I should say, low fantasy mostly, not a lot of high fantasy. So keep that in mind as I recommend these and as I express them as my favorites. I have 3 titles for you that I think I would like to share as being some of my favorites just because they transported me and took me away in such a phenomenal way. The first, Mary E. Pearson's Dance of Thieves. This is a duology, so she has a part 2 to this story, and I absolutely loved it. It combines some of my favorite things: fantasy elements, different world building, cultural connection, and amazing characters, and of course a love story, because I am a romantic. V.E. Schwab's Darker Shade of Magic, the Shades of Magic series, is magical, I loved it. I loved the way that she put tension in the world. I love how there's tension in the relationships. The characters are amazing. I thought the world building was fantastic. I'm really looking forward to reading her new book that's just come out, I think, yesterday. Last but not least, a fantasy that just came out earlier this year in March, and I just read it because it was recommended to me by an amazing human being, is The House in the Cerulean Sea. Okay, I don't even know where to start with this book, but what I can say is the characters are so good that made this book for me. And the way that the characters are written, the other part of it that makes it so awesome is there is definite parallels to the book and what's happening in our world, but not in a way that made me feel like, ugh, I don't want to listen to anything 2020 related. It wasn't like that at all. In fact, it highlighted it in a refreshing way. The second thing is there's so much humor in the book that it made reading it delightful. So it's probably, and I have a feeling it's going to stand the test of time as one of my favorite reads. So that, my friends, probably my favorites for right now. And in the meantime, I am busy at work, hoping that maybe this is going to be your favorite. This is my new YA contemporary that comes out October 13th, next Tuesday. And I'm really excited about this YA contemporary romance. With some depth, some heart, and some layers that help you immerse yourself, escape, and enjoy.